Raising an exponent to another exponent. What happens? Okay, when you take x to the fourth and raise it to the third power, that means you're taking x to the fourth and multiplying it by itself 3 times. Here's how it looks. X to the fourth times itself 3 times. X to the fourth times x to the fourth times x to the fourth. So what do you really have there? Well, a whole bunch of x's all times together, right? So how many? I think there's 12 altogether, so that'll be x to the 12th. And that's what it means. Can you see the shortcut? What should you do when you have x to the fourth to the third? What can you do with those two numbers? Well, 4 times 3 makes 12. So if you just multiply the 4 times the 3, you get 12. And that's another rules of exponents. If you have an exponent raised to another exponent, you can multiply the exponents. Now, don't confuse this with this. Okay, x to the fourth times x to the third. When you multiply like bases, you add exponents. That would be x to the seventh. And when you raise an exponent to another exponent, that's when you multiply the exponents. That'll be x to the 12th. Okay, so let's take a look at this a little bit harder problem. First, I want to draw it out so you see where this comes from. All right, first off, if I have 4a to the third b to the fourth squared, that means I'm taking 4a to the third b to the fourth times itself. And that's what it means to square something. Okay. Now, if I rearrange the order, put the numbers next to each other, the a's next to each other, the b's next to each other, now I can simplify this. So let's see, 4 times 4 is 16. And then what happens with the rest? Well, a to the third times a to the third. That's a times a times a times a times a times a to the 6th. So this will be 16, a to the 6th, b to the 8th. Let's look at how the shortcut looks. Okay, I'm just going to square each piece. Notice this only works if I only have multiplication in here. If there was addition or subtraction, I'd have to solve this a different way. Okay, 4 squared. That's 4 times 4, that's 16. A to the third squared. When I raise an exponent to another exponent, I multiply the exponent, so that would be a to the 6th. B to the fourth squared. Multiply exponents, b to the 8th. A common wrong answer I'll get is this. Notice what that person did. They said, okay, I need to multiply my exponents. So they did 3 times 2 and got 6, 4 times 2 and got 8, but then they also did 4 times 2. But notice when it's a regular number that's being squared, you can't use the laws of exponents. You have to just square that number. 4 squared is 16, not 8. Two p to the third r, all raised to the 4th power. So let's just take a look at how this will look written out. When you raise something to the 4th power, that means you multiply it by itself 4 times. So then when you rearrange the pieces, as you can when everything is all multiplied together, it will look like that. So 2 to the 4th, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. And then p to the third, p to the third, p to the third, p to the third. Well, let's see, what do you have? You actually have 12 p's that are all multiplied together. So you'll have 16 p to the 12th, and then r to the 4th. Again, using our exponent rules or our shortcut rules, we can just raise each piece to the 4th. So let's see, 2 to the 4th, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. p to the third to the fourth. When you have an exponent raised to another exponent, you can multiply exponents. So that's p to the 12th. And then r to the fourth. Again, same answer each way, but I think it is helpful to see this to know why something happens. It makes the rule easier to memorize. I've written out another one down here. Let's see what's happening. We have 4x to the 5th, y to the 7th. That's right here. And then this piece is squared. So we're going to take 3x to the 8th, y to the 3rd, and multiply it times itself. So 3x to the 8th, y to the 3rd, 3x to the 8th, y to the 3rd. So now let's rearrange all those pieces so we have all the numbers together. 4 times 3 times 3, let's see, 4 times 3 is 12, times 3 is 36. And then I'll have 5x's here, so that's x to the 5th, and then x to the 8th, and x to the 8th. So all together, let's see, I've got 21 x's there, so that'll be x to the 21st power. And let's see, how many y's? There's y to the 7th, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, y to the 13th. So let's try to do this without writing all this out, using our shortcut rules. Okay, so we've got 4x to the 5th, y to the 7th. And this piece will be squared first. That'll be the first thing we do. Okay, so 3 squared is 9. 8x squared. An exponent raised to another exponent, you multiply exponents, so that's x to the 16th. And y to the 3rd squared, when an exponent is raised to another exponent, multiply exponents, so that's y to the 6th. And now, let's see, we've got 4 and 9 is 36. 4 times 9 is 36. X to the 5th times x to the 16th. When you multiply like bases, you add exponents. So 5 plus 16, that'll be x to the 21st. And then y squared, y to the 6th. Oh, that should be a 7. Sorry. Y to the 7th, y to the 6th. When you multiply like bases, you add exponents, so that'll be y to the 13th.